Living in the Federal Capital Territory, the nation's capital, the seat of power in Nigeria, should come with benefits. But for rural communities, opposite is the case. Most of these communities are bedeviled by insecurity and the death of social amenities. And that's going to be our focus on Community Forum. Welcome to the program. I am Sarah Yuku. In the 1970s, the military government of General Murtala Mohammed set up a committee whose aim was to find out how to move Nigeria's capital away from Lagos State to another location. December 1991, this dream materialized and Abuja officially became Nigeria's capital. A lot of land was cleared to make way for Nigeria's new seat of power, and with this came a cost too heavy to bear for Abuja's original inhabitants. With development comes pain, but this is one pain that has lingered too long for the indigenous people of Abuja. Surrounded by milk and honey, yet they have no sweetness. Decades upon decades, protests upon protests, but it seems there is no end in sight to the plight of many of the original inhabitants of Abuja, many of whom have been evicted from where they used to call home. It is morning in Paikonkore community, a farming settlement in the Gwagwalada Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory. The people are going about their businesses. The animals are also scavenging for what to eat. But Paikonkore is a far cry from the beauty of the city center. Place lacking basic amenities, with open sewage systems passing in the middle of clustered houses. Shallow drainage outlets like this course through this community, leaving children and adults alike at the risk of diseases. The blackish, shallow drains have no destination, and most of the time they are stagnant, with the stench ever present. Sustainable Development Goal 6 aims to ensure access to clean water and sanitation for all. In Paikonkore, getting potable water is a challenge. With dirt and human and animal feces all over the place, this brownish-green river provides an open source of water to the community. Most of the locals do their laundry and wash their utensils here. According to a recent study, the river harbors 6,000 bacteria colonies per liter of water, leaving the residents at the risk of diseases like urinary schistosomiasis, diarrhea, dysentery, intestinal cramps, among others. But they continue to flock to the river because they have no choice. After filling up buckets and bowls, calculated steps must also be taken in order not to fall into the river. Happiness is free, so it is here. Aside getting water for domestic use, some others find peace and happiness playing, bathing, and relieving experiences at the river.
Water is scarce sometimes, but sometimes we have a lot of water. We get water from the borewell and we get water from the river. If I'm inside the river, it will be easier for me. When it's rainfall, it's very difficult for us. Sometimes we cannot even wash inside the river.
Many taps like this can be found in different parts of the community, but they are dry. Bowls are lined up in another section of the community waiting for when there will be water gushing out of the taps, as they are not pumped frequently. Others depend on water cellars. In another part of the community, this solar hand pump borehole is the solution.
We are the
true original owners of this community, and every other community came and settled close to us. We are not just predominantly farmers, but all of us are farmers. Some time ago, the government came here and said they were taking this place to give it to Fulani herders, and that we should steer clear of the place. We were surprised and we asked, is our own farming activities on the place useless to Nigeria? This is Abuja, and we are not supposed to suffer because of the name, but enjoy with our children and loved ones. When the government came, we did not resist them from taking the place because we are a non-violent ethnic group, and we expected the government to look into our situation with some sort of relief or relocation to another space, but they have not.
We're now on the way to the area earmarked as a grazing reserve in Paikonkore. All of this land is part of it, more than 8,000 hectares of land.
Paikonkore predates not only F.C.T, it predates the independence of Nigeria. In the 90s, where it was now pronounced to us that there is a grazing reserve in Paikonkore. It became more pronounced in the late 90s, as from 98, 99, when we started witnessing the influx of Fulani, and that is where we begin to raise eyebrow. 2014, when there was this communal clash between the herders and the farmers, where herders went into a farmer's farm, and in an attempt to drive them, it resulted to a communal clash that claimed the lives of many. It was that time that it was clearly pronounced that this area is a grazing reserve. And we, members of the community, now petition the office of the minister for allocating our land for a grazing reserve without our consent. There has never been compensation, but we are witnessing influx of herders on a daily basis. Even if a project is developmentally driven, it is of the public interest. The locals are to be consulted, to be resettled, as the case may be, to be compensated. Our case is not like that. So we are saying that the government is placing the cart before the horse. Of course, the movement will not be smooth.
Just like this tree, Paikonkore community has been stripped bare as it looks forward to better days. Moving further into another part of Abuja, we're on the way to the second largest area council in Abuja, and the people say they deserve more from the government. The road is untarred, and as cars move on the road, the dust settles on the weeds at the side of the road. One can only imagine what residents of this area go through anytime it rains.
I feel discouraged to identify myself today as an indigene, or to identify myself as the chairman of Buhari Area Council. Most of the people that are living in the town, they only know of Duse and Kuba. Then, after Buhari Area Council is where the council is residing, I want to tell you the remaining area, the villages are remote areas, which truly we need the attention of the government. And I want to say the challenges, the major challenges we are having today in F.C.T. Yes, it is good to relocate, but when you are relocating people, that they should go to a new site, what do they supposed to be? All the amenities, the social amenities should be provided to the people that are going back to the place that they are to reside. We are calling in the government of the day to come to our aid, to develop our area so that we will go in same page with the government of the F.C.T.
This is so frustrating for traders who have to ferry their goods to the city center, as they can only move at snail speed. After a rather long journey on the bad road, we finally reached Kau. We paid homage to the district head.
We in Abuja have a serious situation, most especially as it relates to food. We, the Abuja original inhabitants, are farmers. Whatever is for drinking and eating, we get it through farming. Since this is the only thing we know, we don't joke with it, but our problem is even much bigger, given that whenever we farm crops, the Fulani herders will come with the cattle to eat and ravage our crops.
Just like other communities, a large expanse of land in Kau community has been earmarked for a grazing reserve, but community members say they were not consulted, and many of them have to now leave the ancestral lands. Having to contend with this reality, they still need to confront other challenges like the lack of basic amenities. Wires and cables strung on poles, but the people of the community are far from enjoying electricity. They are still waiting for the rural electrification project to power their homes and businesses.
This is a community that has been in existence since 1804, before the jihad of Usman bin Fodio. We share boundary with Nasarawa State, we share boundary with Kaduna State, and we share boundary with Niger State. So these people are coming here, both the good and the bad people are coming to this community. The grazing reserve is situated here without our knowledge. Nobody was contacted before bringing in this grazing reserve. So we just saw it and there was nothing we can do. About 9,000 square kilometers was earmarked for grazing reserve. People are living there, our farms are within that place. We are not being compensated and nobody is saying anything. The need for electrification cannot be overemphasized. There is need for water here. The distinguished senator has done his best to bring light, but up to now we have not seen the light. Our community has been forgotten. I must say that the area council is doing its best, but that is not enough.
We were guided by members of Kau community to the proposed grazing reserve. Bare land, weeds and shrubs all over, farmlands of the original inhabitants of Abuja. It is a situation that has pitched the original inhabitants of the land, who are farmers, against herdsmen looking for where to graze their livestock. We continued the rest of the journey to the grazing reserve on a motorcycle. There it stands, the signpost stating the rehabilitation of the earth dam in livestock in Kawu Grazing Reserve. We notice that the road leading to the earth dam has been graded. There it is, surrounded by trees and shrubs. For some, it is a place where they get water for their domestic use.
This area now carved out as Kawu Grazing Reserve has been occupied by many settlements, many communities for over 2 to 3 centuries ago. And the inhabitants of these settlements own this property. The issue of compensation, it must be noted, has not been settled. Our communities should allow surveyors from FCDA to come and re-establish the boundary of the proposed grazing reserve. And thereafter, the said grazing reserve will be divided into 2. That should be divided into 2, that's what they said. One part will be reserved for grazing, while the second part will be where the communities that happen to fall within the grazing reserve now will now have to move to. And then, of course, the farmers who are the owners of the farmlands will now have to be carrying out their farming activities on the second part. To solve this problem, finally, we want the government to actually be sincere in the policies, pay the compensation promptly, and then, of course, make it clear where our own farmers will now be accommodated. So the government cannot just come and take over land without making adequate provision for the farmers, indeed the original inhabitants of the farmland.
There is uncertainty in the air in Kawu. And that run-down building right there is a police outpost in Kawu, unbefitting for a structure meant to house those who are to provide security. We see that many projects remain abandoned as we make our way to Galuyishiri, a sleepy and farming communities in the Federal Capital Territory. While some are worried about losing their lands for grazing reserves, others are worried about losing their farmlands for others who are to be resettled. Galuyishiri in Buari Area Council is one of such communities located many kilometers from the city center. Its clustered houses lined up and adorned with rusty corrugated sheets shining in the sun. It has a proposed housing settlement to resettle those who have been displaced from their ancestral lands to make way for continuous expansion of the Federal Capital Territory. Blue and cream houses in the resettlement area built according to some specifications in preparation to resettle some original inhabitants. This resettlement site, embarked on in 2006, is meant to accommodate 12 communities, and there are more than 2,000 units of 2-bedroom each. It has been renovated over the years, but the paints are gradually losing color. And the environment, surrounded by weeds, poor access roads, lack of electricity and water.
This project started about 15 years ago, and then some of these buildings you can see, they have gone down, and then this is about the second time or third time they are being renovated. But as you can see, no one is living here yet, and the little road that you can see as if it is fine, this is the only place that this road is good here. Every other place in this resettlement is not good like this. And then no one is staying here because the roads, the major roads leading to this place have not been constructed. The amenities that were supposed to have been done to the communities, surrounding communities here, none has actually been executed. And then even here, people cannot comfortably live here because there is no water yet.
Now you want to talk about this place as a befitting place for somebody like me, a young person like me who wants to get married. Assuming I'm still staying with my parents, just like the case in the city there, where we are having issues of crisis of land, where to develop, where to expand and go. And then you're bringing me to this place, you're bringing me and my parents to this place. And then I have 4 brothers, 2 sisters. Is this where you want us to stay? Is this where we can stay? And then I will get married. Where is this place for expansion? If these people who are living in this community do not have space to expand, how much more of us that are being taken from our comfort zone down to this place? Where are we going to? We are just restricted to one particular place.
Abuja. Many people say Abuja, Abuja. Before the advent of Abuja, there was this land, and we have been living here. Every year you hear they are making budget and spending millions, but you won't see them come down to communities here to create accessible roads. We are helpless. Look at this resettlement they brought to Shere community here and spent millions of naira, but yet it is not functional after many years of raising these buildings. They are decaying and nobody is occupying them. Monies that would have been used to make roads and provide us electricity is wasting.
They promise us to give us light, road, and other things, water. And still, all these things that they promise us, they will do it. They didn't do even one single thing.
Another problem the people have to deal with: dust rising and spreading from quarries, finding its way to where to settle, putting the young and old at the risk of respiratory infections.
Part of the challenges we face with some of these quarry sites is that some of their community development projects that they are supposed to undertake, they don't undertake. Basically, we need government to do the right thing so that the people of these communities, inhabitants of FCT, will live well like normal human beings.
The old, the middle-aged, and the young all look on restless, thinking about what the future may hold. Will things ever change? Will it get better? Will they benefit from the largesse of being in the Federal Capital Territory? These are the big questions begging for answers. As darkness falls on Abuja's rural communities, they're sending a passionate appeal to the government to ensure inclusive development for all.